Welcome to Bay Rats and Buoys with your host, Captain Gaige.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. I'm your host, Captain Gaige, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I love all the positive feedback and everyone that's giving me the downloads and checking it out on all the different podcast arenas, wherever you guys get your podcasts. So I really appreciate it, guys. We're ramping this thing up and loving it. It's doing great. We even got the merch out. So the stickers are in. We're starting to get these out. This week I gave Rich a handful of them over at the fuel dock. And I pulled up to get gas the other day, and I see it on the window of the fuel dock. So thank you, Rich, over at Windcoat. That's where I get my gas. And I love those guys. Those guys are awesome. But I appreciate the support. Rich was telling everybody about it. So really, it's word of mouth. That's how this really spreads around amongst the fishing, the anglers, and the boating community, is people spreading the word. So if you really enjoy it or you like it, shoot a text to your buddies, because I'm in a bunch of text groups with captains and fishermen and surf guys and kayakers and all the different things that I do as far as fishing. And if you're in a group with those guys, shoot them a text and say, hey, check out this podcast, because there's not too many fishing and boating podcasts being done here on Long Island. I'm not saying there aren't any. I'm just saying there's not a lot of them. So let's support them. Let's keep this going, guys. We're going to make something great out of this. I know it, and I'm really excited to end this season and to kick off next year, because we will have a full line of merchandise. But if you want a sticker, the requirements to get one, all you got to do is subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that notification bell. All right? If you do that, we're going to start picking random people. I'll shoot you a message, and I'll send you out. If you want one, DM me, get me a message on Facebook. Go to sandcitycharter.com. If you can't find anything there, you could message me through my website. There's a form to fill out. You can fill out the form, and we can communicate. My information's there. My cell phone's there. You guys want to shoot me a text message, by all means, I'll be happy to shoot you a sticker. That's what's in right now, George. I'm out of Sand City shirts, and I do need some Bay Rats and Buoys merchandise, so me and you got to sit down and talk. I need another order. Everything that you gave to me, I've already given away, and greatly appreciated, and thank you so much. Love supporting local businesses, guys, so that's what I'm all about. And George did the right thing by me. I mean, he handed me a box of shirts I didn't even ask for, and it was absolutely amazing. It blew me away, because people don't give you stuff all the time, especially like that in that business. And that was super nice of him to do. He didn't have to do it, and he did. And I love helping him and Teddy, his son, on the boat over there. They have a beautiful robalo a couple doors down from me here in the marina. So shout out to George. George, thanks a lot. And we're going to need some more merch, getting that out to the people. So if you want a sticker, hit us up. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that notification bell. I'll be happy to start picking random people and send some of this stuff out. So that's on the merchandise front. As far as the weather's concerned here, guys, I mean, it's 60 degrees. I'm sitting on my boat in the marina. It's been gusting. It's been blowing. Yesterday it was blowing. Today it's blowing a little bit. Wind out of the west. But this first week in November, I mean, to be in the mid-70s for us here on Long Island is incredible. So we're all taking advantage of it. We're out fishing. And I got to say, water temps holding solid at 60 degrees. And tomorrow we have the first quarter moon. So hopefully the squid come in on that first quarter moon, because last year the squid fishing in my harbor was nothing like it was the year before. And I'm finding out that the moon definitely is going to, should bring them in. We have mid-month, November 15th, we have the full moon. So let's see what happens. Let's see if they come in this year. If not, doesn't matter. The bass are here. I've mentioned it in my past couple of fishing reports that the fishing was lights out. It was insane. There was a 3-day stretch where it was just incredible in the back bay. I mean, I'm in 3 feet of water all the way in the back, and the bass are blowing up. There's hundreds of cormorants, and boy, do I have a funny cormorant story for you. There were hundreds of birds back there, and the birds are working from above. You got the birds in the water, and the bait. There's just an abundance of bait. So that's what brought all the fish in. So for 3 days straight, it was sunrise, sunset. It didn't matter what time you were out there. You could blind cast towards the shore into shallow water and hook up. And I got to tell you, we were throwing small stuff. We were throwing big stuff. And when I say small stuff, we were throwing small topwater stuff like this. So just to match the hatch, because the bait was about the size of my hand. So we were throwing small stuff on top. And you were getting some 24-inch, some 23-inch schoolies, some smaller fish. I had some fish chase the dock, and I was throwing bigger stuff like this to maybe see if I could attract some of the bigger fish to, target this. And I was getting a lot of followers. I was getting a lot of blow-ups on it in the video. So for me, that's great. Sometimes I'll even take the hook off and throw it and watch them just blow up on it, because to me, those videos are the best as you're reeling it in, watching how they attack it. And, is it predatorial? Are they chasing it out of there, or are they looking to eat it, bang it around with their head, disorient it, and then go back for it? Because they always go back 2, 3, 4 times for it, which is so cool to see on video. And I like the single hooks. I do. I like the single hooks. We almost lost the dock over the side. Good thing it floats, though. So I like the single hooks on the back, like the Nomad, the Chug Norris. I mean, this thing's incredible. It really is. Nomad makes some great stuff, and I'm a big fan of the Nomad stuff. And, I mean, that hook just stuck in my finger just touching it. And that's what I love about these single hooks, because they're easy for me to pop off with the D-hooker. And same thing with the Super Strikes. I love the single hook in the back, and I really am not a big fan of treble hooks. It makes it a lot harder to release the fish, and on my end, we're going to press down the barbs, and we're going to release these fish. So it's real important for me to have the right setups. Makes it easier to do that. So for me, I like the single hooks on the back, guys. But this time of the year, with using the light tackle, we'll even show you, we'll throw flies out this time of the year on spinning setups, on very, very light spinning setups. You can put a casting egg on. Here, I'll show you, for example. We'll throw a casting egg out with maybe like a game changer on the back end of it. So matching a little bit of that. So there's a game changer on a casting egg. So you could put this on a very light spinning setup that you have and still catch the fish on flies. And it worked great. It's unbelievable. So I love tying my own flies. I do a lot of Clouser minnows in the wintertime, so I have a whole case full of them. I give them away on the boat when people are here. And I love catching fish on my own stuff, as does my mate, Corey. He loves making his own plugs and making his own stuff, and we have a great time doing light tackle fishing with our own stuff, and that's kind of cool. But I got to say, this time of the year, all right, throwing the 6-inch swim shad. Now, we found the bass stacked up, and I could blind cast and throw this out towards the shore, and I was coming in with, 28s, 29s, 30s, right in the slot limit. So they were really good fish. In my fishing report previous to this episode number 6, the fish were real clean. They had no lice, no red algae on them, and they were really clean, and that was great to see. But you can see in the video also how easy it is for me to de-hook this, and he inhaled it. That bass that I lifted out of the water with my hand and supported its belly, which we're going to go over, guys. We're going to go over all the right things to do and how to do them. Because I see in a lot of the Facebook groups, and I share this video in a lot of different Facebook groups. So, guys, I see your posts. I see what people are posting and the pictures, and I see the keyboard warriors and the Karens and all the comments. And, maybe we can educate and help some of these newer guys that are in the groups and newer to fishing and make it a little bit easier for them. So not everybody has to be reported to the DEC for doing something wrong and posting it on Facebook, which I don't even know why they bothered to do, but they do. So we'll see if we can help them out. Anyway, this 6-inch swim shad has been crushing it. Now, I know they make different colors now. I'm not showing Storm, the product, because I have any affiliation or any monetary benefits to show this. This is just a 6-inch swim shad that I'm picking up at my local tackle shop. And this happens to be the one that I really like to use. And the white one with the little black circle. The brown one, I don't use it as much. I do like the whiter colors. And I got murkier water here. I got green water here with a mud bottom. And I happen to use these, and these have been crushing it. So I've been catching bigger fish. And we've been jigging them, guys. So even jigging them with the flutter spoons and, diamond jigs and the epoxies and the heavier jigs that look like peanut bunker, those will get down to, to the bigger fish. That's where they are. And I'm not saying that I can't get big fish on top. We've caught some 44-inch bass on the top with throwing the docks. And these are incredible. This time of the year, you get the birds working, you throw this in, there's a really good chance you're going to get hooked up right away with that. But what I was noticing in the back bays with the smaller fish, that throwing that swim shad was just lights out compared to anything else. So, and that's what's great about going out with multiple people on the boat, is we're all not throwing the same thing. So somebody's jigging, somebody's throwing, top water action and a popper. And, I got the swim shad on. Somebody's got the Chug Norris on, making a little bit more noise on the top of the water, trying to attract something bigger. And I love doing that. I love changing it up and seeing which variation of what we're throwing is going to work. Sometimes it's a color, so sometimes you're throwing white's not working, yellow hooks up. So it's testing all those things out and trying new stuff. So that's what I love about this time of the year. And we got into the back bay, and it was lights out, like I said, for 3 days. And it was epic. I mean, it was insane. And you don't know when it's going to shut off, but here's the story to how it shuts off. I'm looking around. We were going to creep all the way into the back, but the birds were making their way out into the bay. And I'm looking around with the binoculars, which, guys, I mean, you have a boat, you got to look with the binoculars. I mean, you can see so much far away from you and figure stuff out. It's so much easier. And we're looking for telltale signs of something else happening from where we are. And I see a big log floating in the water. We're going to head into the back even further, into 3 feet of water. And I said to the guy on my boat, I said, hey, do me a favor, keep an eye on that log over there, because I have a feeling it's going to swim away. And sure enough, that log picked up its head, and it wasn't a log. It was a seal. And when that seal showed up, it went from 3 days of lights out fishing to a light switch going bink. And that was it. The fishing in that area was obsolete. It was donezo. So when that happens, I move. And I make my way around other areas, and I check it out. And sure enough, we got on the fish. And I was doing the fishing report from the studio on Wednesday. And I get a message from one of my buddies. And, it's pretty funny. The message was basically, telling me that for 2 hours he's been on him. He can't catch any more fish. He's shot. He's done. Between getting poked with hooks and getting the bruises and beat up and battered from the fish, he's leaving them chewing. And so even when the seals show up, guys, you're going to have to move and go find them. And you will. And I got to tell you this time of the year, they're real close into the shore. We're finding them in 3-4 feet of water. They're in the shallows, and the big ones are there too. You cast into the grass. And here's the funny part is we were working some birds, and Corey, my mate, had thrown out a topwater plug, and casting it, there were so many cormorants in the water. Now, we've never hooked into a fish, but hooked into a bird. We've never hooked into a fish. We've never hooked into a bird, but the line got wrapped around his wing, and he pulled it in real gingerly and got it next to the boat. Now, he's telling me I have gloves on because the water temp was cold, and we were going to go Blackfish. We had the crabs on the boat too, and he's telling me to grab by the beak, and I'm like, I don't need to traumatize and grab this bird. I've been able to cut the plug off. He gets the plug off, cuts the leader, and the line, thank God it was really just a fluorocarbon leader that was around the wing of the bird, so it wasn't braid cutting in, because you all know when you pull that braid line through your finger and you catch one of those creases, it's like an instant paper cut. And you don't just do it once. You're going to do it 2 or 3 times where you really feel the pain. I can still feel it just by touching it here. So you guys that fish know what I'm talking about. And I got bit by a cormorant. And the video is hysterical, but I'm still holding the GoPro. I should have handed him the GoPro while I was working on the bird, or at least hooked it up to the railing. I was more concerned for the bird, but I was filming, this cormorant real close to the boat to show you, so I could show you. And then we show him swimming away real fast. So we were able to cut the plug off the leader, and then the line just came right off his wing. But in grabbing the leader so that I could open it up a little bit off of his wing, he gave me a good snap on the hand, and it didn't hurt. It was just the natural reaction of something biting you. I'm like, he bit me, And it was pretty funny. In the video, I wish you could see him biting me, but I should have handed him the camera to hold it. My fault on that, but still funny audio clip of me getting bit by my first cormorant. And wasn't a big deal. And the other day, there were hundreds of them in the water. And I even said to the guy we were fishing with, I'm shocked that we haven't hooked into any birds, because there are just so many of them in the water. They're feeding on the bait too. So a lot of times, we went into the back bay and these guys were fishing on the beach, and the bait was blowing up. The bait was jumping out of the water on the video that I was making, and I was trying to put the drone up in time just so I could film it, and it was cormorants. It wasn't fish. And it was the cormorants feeding on the bait and making them blow up. And the guys on the beach were getting fooled because they're casting out into it, And, granted, there on the sonar, there's fish down below, but, you see the bait blowing up and the boils, and a lot of times you got to wait to see some tail splashes to identify the fish. A lot of times it's the cormorants fooling you, too, and that happens a lot. So I had my first real and close encounter with a cormorant. I got bit in the hand. It wasn't a big deal. And the bays are just packed with birds and fish right now. So if you want to get out there and catch striped bass, I got to say North Shore, South Shore, it doesn't matter where you are. You get out there now, you throw some of those 6-inch swim shads that I was showing you here, you will have no problem hooking up with fish. And in the video that you saw on was previous to this, episode 6 in the fishing report, I show you how fast, I get that fish out of the water, we take the hook out. I purposely show you me releasing the fish, all right? I don't post pictures of me catching fish on Facebook. I'd rather show you videos and how we catch them, how we dehook them, how we release them. And now I'll go as far as to show you, the tagging, the 2 different companies that I use for the striped bass tags, okay? So I use Gray's Fish Tag Research. That's one of the tags that I do. And speaking to them, even at the fishing show, they want us to tag the little 12-inch guys and the smaller fish. And then I have the tags from the Littoral Society. So, and each have different applicators and how they get inserted into the bass. And I learned a lot tagging the 53 sharks that I did a couple summers ago, and we'll have a podcast about that, no doubt. That's going to be great video footage for YouTube of watching those rods bend in half. But so I have good experience tagging the fish, like with the, you got to remove a scale to put them in, and you got to put it in the right spot on the fish. I still haven't gotten any tags back or any intel back on the 53 sharks that I tagged. So that's kind of cool because I can't wait to hear, 4 or 5 years from now that somebody caught one of my tag sharks, how big it was when I caught it and how heavy and how big it is now and where it was caught next. And, there's a good chance we tag a lot of these fish here in the area. There's a good chance you guys fishing in our area on the North Shore, you might catch one of these tagged fish. And it's great that nobody has because we've tagged a whole bunch of them, and I'm not getting any calls or any intel back on the fish that we tagged. So that's kind of cool too. But for me, that's what it's more important about releasing them. I'm not out here to kill anything. If you charter with us and you want to keep your bass and keep the fish that's in the slot limit, you're absolutely allowed to do that. Corey will fillet it up for you, and you're allowed to take it home. So, but anybody that knows me that comes on my boat, a lot of the guys that come fishing with us, we're catch and release. There's so many times that I'd rather keep the fish in the water. I don't need a photograph with it. If I pick it up, I hold it up to the GoPro here. I don't need you to take the phone out and take time and focus and get to the icon and open up the app and do all of that. I don't need all that. I grab it out of the water, we dehook it, and we hold it up to the camera, and boom, it's in the water. It's faster than we caught it. So we like releasing them, guys, and that's what it's all about. I want to create a good fishery here and, something that my kids could fish in 10, 15 years from now. So doing the right thing for me is important. And I see in the Facebook groups a lot of the posts and a lot of the guys holding up big fish back on their dock. And, I've learned over the years visibly when a fish gets next to the boat, how easy it is for me to identify the size of that fish. Not only do I have a 36-inch marker on the gunnel, I got 48 on the floor because the bigger fish, when you do have to net it and get it on the boat to get the, whatever you caught it with out of its mouth safely, it's right there on the tape. It's measured instantly. I do have a flat scale to hit a button and turn it on, and you can weigh the fish instantly and weigh it, measure it, and it's back in the water. And a lot of times we get them back in the water so fast, we don't even have to revive them. There's only been 1 or 2 instances this year that we actually just kept the fish and made sure that we revived it and made sure the dorsal popped up and he bit down and he took off, under his own will, that we didn't leave a fish floating out there, which is important. But a lot of guys take these fish back, to the dock or they're, 50 yards on the beach. Not everybody can judge and break out a measuring tape on a picture, but it is easy to see shorts and it's easy to see the overs when you fish as often as we do. But again, everybody's stiff-arming the fish to try to make it look bigger. The guys that are holding it close to them have a much bigger fish and they could barely pick it up. And, guys that are holding it by the gill plate, it's like picking something. It's like going home, picking up your kid and grabbing him by the neck. So it's not something you should do. And, maybe that's something we should take, we should educate people more. And maybe guys that know what they're doing, instead of ridiculing and, all the keyboard warriors and the Karens, maybe we should teach these people the right way to do it. And some people want to learn, some people don't. I've seen people kick, surf fishing. I've seen people kick fish back into the water. I'm the guy that's going over there and saying something to you. I'm sorry. So I'm not going to stand for that. And maybe you shouldn't be fishing if that's kind of how you're going to treat a fish. So holding it up the right way and supporting it and hand in the mouth. If you don't want to put your hand in the mouth and you're going to use a boga grip and vertical, hold it up vertical to weigh it. All these things are not good for the fish. And, we can have an argument about this with thousands of people in a room, and, it could go a million different ways. And I get that. So let's just try to help the people that on Facebook, if they do something wrong and they show you a picture, let's try to tell them how to do it right and what's the right way to do it. And don't post those pictures, guys. If you have a picture that you're holding up vertical of a 40-inch fish in your backyard or in the back of your truck, because we know that fish didn't get released. We all don't know what area it was caught in. Somebody was posting an 18-inch bass, from California, and everybody was ripping on them. And, the 18-inch size in California is legal for them to keep. And we don't know where it was caught. So, it's things like that, guys. So I get it. And I love being in all the Facebook groups because I share the podcast. I share reports. And to me, building up stuff in the fishing community, those Facebook groups and the admins that approve the post and share it and do all of that stuff, I greatly appreciate it. I do. But some of those groups, you could see people, comment and write, I'm leaving the group, but we got a bunch of Karens in here and, a bunch of keyboard warriors. So maybe we can help educate. So I'm going to do a little bit more about that in each and every episode of, how to help people out. In New York, there's slot limits and, Jersey and all over the place. So you got to know your regulations, guys. It's very important. And we got to do the right thing by the fishery and to keep this fishery sustained. And that's it. I'm not going to, go off in tangents and beat people up over it, but I think it's important. So if you got to get a fishing license, get a fishing license. You don't have to pay for it. It's a saltwater registry. So what are you afraid of to go online and register for free to have a fishing license? And, then you can read about the regulations and learn maybe how to handle the fish, how to press the barb in on a hook because you're going to release it. You don't want to gut hook any fish and circle hooks and all that stuff, guys. There's so much that has to be applied to it. So that's it. I try to do the right thing by the fish and help some of these people in the Facebook groups. But as far as the Facebook groups and people reaching out to me, I got to tell you, the comments that I get, some of them are fantastic. I enjoy them all. In fact, yesterday, Pete, guy like Pete, you deserve a sticker. You deserve a shirt. He was hitting me up on one of my posts and saying, hey, I don't see episode 6 in the YouTube channel. And he was right. I got interrupted yesterday. I was down here. I was recording it. And I wasn't able to put it up yesterday. So I'm down here today and uninterrupted making a podcast that will go up this afternoon. So guys like Pete, I appreciate it. He was looking for it yesterday and he didn't see it because I'm staying consistent putting it up on Thursday. However, Friday is my day off and it's a lot easier for me to do it, sit down here on a Friday because I don't have to do anything. So that worked out. And I'm going to give a shout out to Matt from Anytime Tackle. I have your lures here somewhere. Here they are. So guys send me stuff all the time. And Matt had reached out via Messenger and said, hey, I got an Anytime Tackle and I make tog jigs. Do you want short shank? Do you want long shank? I'm going to send you a few. So he sent me 1, 2, and 3 ounce short shanks here. And these are 1 ounce. He sent me the 1 ounce 3/0, and we're going to drop them in and use them and give you a little review on it. So if you guys have any tackle that you make or any stuff that you want us to use and review, I mean, we're out here all the time. We got another 5 weeks left. Looks like with this warmer weather, we're going to go into December here. I mean, I can usually say Thanksgiving is around the time the boat's coming out of the water, but I have a feeling we're in for some warmer temperature. I don't think we're going to see any more 70s here on the North Shore. I think we're done in the 70s. We may get 1 or 2 more days that we get a little bit of a heat wave, which would be cool. But now we're in the 60s, and moving forward, it looks like it's going to be 60s and high 50s and back to the normal temps, and that water temperature should drop with those cooler 40-degree nights happening. So with that, the bite should get even better as that water temperature drops. I think we're seeing a little less on the North Shore as far as some of the bigger bass, and that might be because of the temperature. But the back bays, guys, they're loaded up. So if you want to catch fish in the back bays, now is the time. I can't begin to tell you. So I appreciate Matt and Pete and the guys that are reaching out to me. I get positive feedback everywhere I go, all over the marina and the fuel dock and in the stores locally and the different places that I post stuff on online. I get a lot of cool messages. So I appreciate it, guys. I really do. We're going to keep this thing growing. We'll do it all together. And for the boating guys that are taking their boats out, I get it. Season's over. And for the fishermen that are in, you only have a certain amount of days. I mean, one of the big fishing boats just got hauled out just now next to me. And it's every day now that's going to get thinner and thinner and thinner. So there's less guys out there fishing. And I got to say, being out there with less boats out there is great. But last Sunday, we shot across the Sound to the Connecticut side, do a little tog fishing. And, some of the reefs, they are just packed. And, we'll go off to the side. We know where to go, and we'll find different caves. And, the spearfishing expedition I did on Friday with Jacob and Kyle was just an amazing learning experience that it was my first time spearfishing and getting in the water. I was in the water for 3 hours. It was 60 degrees, the water. The wind was out of the northwest. It was really blowing. We had whitecaps coming in out of the Sound. And we were on one of the jetties west of us here. And it was a great learning experience for me. And getting down there in the caves and really seeing. Now I know I need an underwater light. So I got to say, Sammy over at Bunger in Sayville, I'm coming. You've been recommended. Jacob said I got to come see you, so I'm coming. But I definitely needed an underwater light down there to see into these caves. Jacob and Kyle, they're doing this a long time, so they're pros at it. And I learned from the best. And it was just great to be in the water learning from them. I never even cocked the spearfishing gun. I had it, I had it all in my hand and was ready to go, but it was really just learning, swimming around with it and getting used to it, do these drops and get down there. And the visibility wasn't that great that day because the wind was out of the northwest. So it's learning all that. And you guys, I tell you in every episode, I'm like a sponge. I love learning new stuff, and no pun intended, I was a sponge that day in the water in my wetsuit. It did amazing. At no point, Jacob's like, yo, you cold? And I'm like, not even close. I'm 2 hours into this, I could have went another 2 hours easily. We were out in 3, so Jacob limited out. He got 3 nice keeper tog, and it's really cool to see. He's got the notches on his gun. He's got the 16 for the tog, and he's got the 28 for the bass. And, you saw him on episode 4 in his garage. He's got silhouettes of the sizes because you really got to learn. Like I was saying, we know what the size of the fish is when it gets next to the boat, but when you're down there, you don't know the size of the fish there. Everything looks a little bit bigger down there. So it was so cool to know that Kyle and Jacob were not just dropping and shooting at everything. In fact, it was quite the opposite. They're more into the conservation of it, and they're not just going to go down there and shoot everything, and they're only going to take what they're going to eat and, see some of the big fish in the caves. It's just really cool. And I got to tell you, I learned a little bit about the engine because I'm so glad that when I pull up somewhere, I am so fast to turn my engine off. Sometimes I don't even put it in neutral. I'm just like, turn the key, and shut it off. Quiet, That engine is so loud down there that I heard boats that I thought were so close to us that when I picked my head up and came up and saw how far away the boat was, that the engine was so loud from that far away. When the boats that came close to us, that were close in the area, we were on a jetty, and it was cool because we were kind of protected from worrying about any boats that were in the area, and they would have to go around the jetty, and they were close enough that you could see the prop, you could see the water moving, and it was so loud. So not only is the boat loud, but the fish down there, you can hear them. If you get into a school of the Blackfish or the stripers, you hear the thumps. You hear the tails, and it's like hitting your chest, with your hand, and you can hear that thump. So you can actually get down there and hear fish. But with the Blackfish, it's just so cool how they're in the caves and they're in the rocks. And even fishing Sunday and Monday, we were talking, and it was so awesome. We have fished at when the togger peel and drag off, you're in some good sized fish, and that makes it a ton of fun. Those are the ones you're after, the double digits, and they take you into the rock. You feel the head shake. You're hooked up. You have a fish on, and then all of a sudden you go to pull it, and it's like you snagged the bottom, and you're pulling it. Well, stop. Let the drag out, and give that fish a few seconds to come out. They're going to come out. They always do. We didn't have any break-offs as far as a fish that went into the rocks that we weren't able to get the fish back out, which was fortunate for us in the jigs. You're going to lose jigs. It's what happens. It's gear. We lose gear every day, all the time on the boat. That's part of boating and fishing, and we don't complain about it. It happens. So when those jigs come out, I'd be more upset that I got the jig stuck in the fish's mouth. Those Blackfish, their skin is so soft when it comes up. It's not the easiest jig to get out sometimes, especially on the shorts that you got to let go. And, how many do you grab on the side or, in the face or, just trying to lift on them. And it's getting it down. So on Monday, I had tied my own high-low rigs just to give it a shot. So there's 2 pieces of crab down as opposed to the 1. And I got to tell you, I did amazing on the high-low rig as far as the hookup. People next to me had the single jig lifting, and we were back and forth. It was the rods were bending, guys. It was an epic day. It was a little windy. Monday was a little windy. It was wind out of the east. So knowing that the seal was in some of the back bays here, I ventured out into other areas. And, I had to get through some 5-foot swells to get into other back bays. And, man, was I so rewarded for doing that. We got so rewarded. The fish, it was lights out. It was insane. And, what my buddy Greg was texting me and telling me that, for 2 hours he left them chewing. It was just incredible. And the pain he was feeling. And he couldn't throw another cast. And, so I that's what we live for. We love going out. This is what we do. And we enjoy this time of the year. But changing your areas and going out on windy days and going to areas that you can fish, you find those bait. You find the bait in the eddies on the on the shoreline on the outgoing tide where it's a little bit calmer, the water, and it's not 3-4 foot swells that are coming in, and you get on the other side of a bay and use the land to protect you, and you're doing it on your boat. You're going to realize the fish are doing it as well, and you don't need the birds to tell you that the fish are there. And so that's where the exploration of going in and blind casting into certain areas to be like, wow, they're here. This is cool. We're hooking up. And then we see them on the sonar. Obviously, that helps. But the birds working, that's just, we've been coming into some working birds like this time of the year. There's going to be a day that we go out and the harbor is just filled with birds. They're here. The fish showed up. They're chewing. They're going to leave. The temperature dropped. The water's down to the right, for them to feed. Just like in the springtime, it's 55 is the magic number for the bass to really come out of that lethargic stage and start feeding. So the squid, we're hoping the squid come in. I can't wait to do some squid fishing. So the spearfishing expedition on Friday was nothing short of epic. And thank you, Kyle, and thank you, Jacob. I appreciate your patience and teaching me the ropes. But I got to tell you, they jumped in the water. We had our gear on, and boom, they took off, and I followed, and that's how you learn. And you get out there and you do it, and that's just me. I'm hands-on. I like to, I didn't want to put the gun on the rocks and sit, I wanted to be in the water with everything, excuse me, and learn how to do it and learn how to get used to the equipment. And, now I know what I want. Now I know what I need. And, I had 18 pounds of weight on, for the drops, and super cool. I'm super addicted. I can't wait to do it. I'm going to do it in my local area here in practice. Going to the gin clear. I love this time of the year. The water is gin clear. So I'm going to shoot out into certain areas where I can put gear up and get into the water and spend an hour or two and just practicing, holding the breath and the breathing techniques and the drops, and to get down in there and to, be super still and make yourself small and all the stuff that I learned. And that's why I'm super appreciative of the guys I go out with and love learning new stuff. And if you want to learn new stuff and if we could help teach you new stuff, I'd be happy to do that. You want to jump on board the boat and come out with us and learn what it's like to get out there and laugh and have a great time, because we definitely have some fun on the boat. There is no short. We're definitely not short on laughs on the boat, especially when we have a bunch of the buddies and a bunch of cool guys that have already been out with us. I mean, they already know. We already know what we're in for. When certain guys come out, we know this is going to be one of those rib-hurting expeditions just from the laughs and the stuff that we're going to say and do on the boat. It's a ton of fun. So that's what it's about for us, guys. Love it. This is episode number 6 of Bay Rats and Buoys. I'm so excited to be sitting down on my boat in November. A lot of the next few episodes, as the temperature gets colder, they're going to be in when the boat comes out of the water. I'll be in the studio like I did the report yesterday. It'll be a lot easier for me to have guests on and host some guests. I can't wait to have. There's a whole bunch of people I've already reached out to. Everybody's like, hell yeah, I'll be on. Come on, can't wait to do it. And it's just a matter of timing. I like to get these up on Thursday when I released a fishing report for the Fisherman magazine. I like to do it so that the report goes out and then I could tie this in behind it. So I'm sorry I didn't put this up yesterday to guys like Pete that were asking for it. We appreciate you, all the viewers and anybody that's enjoying it. We really do. We're going to get the merchandise out to you guys. So if you want some stickers, let us know. Go hit that subscribe button and the notification bell on the YouTube channel. That will automatically enter you for a message from us. And we're going to reach out to a bunch of subscribers and start taking care of the subscribers first, because obviously you like what we're doing and you're subscribing to it. And that's going to be our first way to start thanking people, is giving out some free merchandise. Like I said, the shirts and the hats are soon to follow. And that's it. Another episode on the boat in the books. And we're going to close it up here, guys. Episode 6 is a wrap. I'm your host, Captain Gaige. If you have any friends that are into fishing and boating, send a link to them. Shoot them a message. Say, hey, yo, check this out. We got a local podcast. We got something local to talk about fishing and the gear that we use. And I'm going to start showing you a lot more of the gear. Today I showed you a few of the things that we do like to use. And I mentioned using the casting eggs and the 6-inch swim shads. I'll show some of the stuff again if you're late to tune in. You can go catch this again, hit the repeat button, and replay it. You'll see that I'm showing you these 6-inch swim shads. These were definitely way more effective right now catching the bass. But like I said, I like to try everything. So we'll show you in all the episodes different stuff that we use. I got to send Greg a picture of some of the jigs that I use. I mean, we use the slow pitch jigs. I have some secret weapons on the boat that are lights out when the fish are under the boat. I know how to catch those big fish, and I'm going to show you how to do that too in the next episode, episode 7. We're going to call that Lucky 7. We'll show you guys some really cool stuff and some of the secret weapons that I use here on the boat. So definitely spread the word and tune in, because we're going to start showing you every week all the gear that we use and how we catch a lot of these fish on a very consistent basis. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Subscribe, download, and hit that notification bell. Shoot me a message on Facebook. It's Captain Gaige Simon. On Facebook, it's Gaige Simon. It's Gaige, Gaige. You can see it. It's written all over the place. My SandCityCharter.com. Visit us there. You can get in touch with me there. I have no problem communicating with everybody. And appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. Wishing everybody bent rods, tight lines, and I'll see you out on the water. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. Be sure to visit SandCityCharter.com and follow Captain Gaige on all our social media channels.